What was it like working with Timur, and what is it with him as a director that attracted you to, become part of this project and work with him on this film?
After hearing Timur talk about it and just his passion, his ideas about it, I thought, wow, I want to see his version of the movie, and he just had such good ideas about it and passion about it, and he's a great director. So for me, it was like really easy. It's like, wow, let's and also for me too. When I direct a film, I have trouble watching it. So this is a case where I can be involved in a movie and actually enjoy watching it. So it's exciting for me.
If there's anything at all, it shall only be a fraction of the truth. For whatever else I am, a husband, a lawyer, a president, I shall always think of myself first and foremost as a hunter.
Seth, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, as I understand, start out as a title alone.
Yeah.
Is that how Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter started? And why did you want to use Abraham Lincoln as your hero fighting vampires?
Well, it started because it was an observation. In 2009, when I was promoting Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, I was going to a lot of bookstores.
Okay.
And it was the bicentennial, coincidentally, of Lincoln's birth. And so in every bookstore, there was the Lincoln display and all the new Lincoln books and biographies. Okay. And then there was the Twilight and the True Blood display right next to it in every bookstore without fail. And so it just became this sort of subconscious juxtaposition. And it was like, it started as a joke, like, wouldn't that be funny if you could combine those things? But then the more I read about the real Lincoln and his real tragedies and his real sort of super heroic life, the more I got inspired to add that genre element to it, and that's where it started.
Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
What was it about Seth's novel that made you want to make this movie?
I made Night Watch and Day Watch, two vampire movies, and it's a vampire hunter movies because the main character was a vampire hunter, and I was looking for the third, Dusk Watch, and I couldn't find the story, and we didn't have a chance to make this movie. Sure. And suddenly I read this 20 pages book proposal Seth wrote about Abraham Lincoln being vampire hunter, and somehow I understood that it's maybe there is my next vampire hunter movie.
Vampires have been in the New World for centuries.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war. These brave men shall not have died in vain.
So I was wondering if each of you could just tell me something that you learned about one of our greatest presidents that you hadn't already known before making this film.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, the leap from the president that we know to Vampire Hunter was lessened for me by knowing that he was actually such a physical guy when he was younger, that he was, reputedly incredibly strong and, the woodsman and all that. I didn't know, because I thought of him, because of the kind of long skeletal image we have of him, as a very kind of man who lived in his head, But the discovery that he was actually an outdoors, incredibly physical guy made that transition not so difficult for me.
77 years ago.
There is darkness everywhere, Mr. Lincoln.
Our fathers brought forth on this continent.
I had known a little bit about the fact that he was kind of a troubled person, emotionally and things like that, but reading his poetry, from his early years was really incredible for me, just seeing what a great poet he was and kind of how emotionally troubled he was and how he dealt with that all throughout the presidency. It just makes him even more incredible in my mind.
I didn't know he came from such a difficult beginnings.
Yeah.
I was totally unaware of that. How unbelievably hard it must have been to get into politics, coming from where he came from. I was completely unaware of it. That was his beginning.
It's time vampires had a nation of our own.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom. And the government of the people